Hey, y'all give it up one more time for H-Town's finest, man. Big shout out to my man Martell. Big shout out to my man Marvan. Good big shout out to my homegirls Candace and Crystal and the rest of the fellas, man. H-Town's finest is in the building. This is how we funk in H-Town. If y'all know the song, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know where I'm coming from. If you're paying attention, you see joining me on the screen right now is my big brother and friend, one of the greatest influences in this whole purple army, if you will, from my perspective. I'd like to go ahead and introduce to some and announce to others Brother Jerome Benton from The Time, Brother Jerome Benton from Purple Rain, Brother Jerome Benton from Under the Cherry Moon, Brother Jerome Benton from Graffiti Bridge. What's up, bro?
What it do? What it do? What's up, H Town? Y'all sounding good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's such an honor and a pleasure to have you here. I know we've communicated back and forth over the years, and I'm glad that we were able to kind of come full circle and have you be a part of our show on such a special day, special occasion. And I want to get right into the questions so the people can hear what they came to hear. So, starting out, let's talk about growing up in Minneapolis with your brother, Terry Lewis, of course. What age did you all get into music and feel like that music was going to take you places?
Well, growing up in Minneapolis with my family, I'm one of five kids. I'm in the middle, two girls, two boys. Older brother, Terry, myself, and my two younger sisters.
Okay.
We're from Omaha, Nebraska, and we ended up migrating to Minnesota and landing in St. Paul at first. My father worked for the packing house back in the 60s, and that was short lived. And he continued to work for him, but we bought a home in North Minneapolis
Okay.
and resided there. Music in my household was it was just it was like a dish soap on the sink. It was
Okay.
something
Yeah.
that took place. My father had some brothers that were in the blues with Stax Records and played with Muddy Waters. His name was Buster Benton. You can look some of his stuff up online.
All right.
Um, he was also known as the one-legged blues man because that sugar got him. But it didn't stop him from hacking at that guitar.
Gotcha.
Around the household, my mother had gatherings with my father. You know, they were bowlers, they were fishermen, and they would come home and clean the fish and have fish fries, and they would turn on the music. And
Right.
they had all kinds of just cool music, Bobby Womack and things that went all the way back, dramatics, all that stuff way back. And just being part of that culture, you know, you gravitate to that music. It's not force fed, but it becomes part of who you are. You know,
Right.
you hear the lyrics, you learn the lyrics, you sing the lyrics. After that, you know, as we got older, uh, music being taken in school,
Okay.
uh, mandatory mandatory to take
Mm-hmm.
music in school,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't that big into music and learning the instrumentation of it, but I did. I took saxophone and, of course, choir. Terry took another route into it, and my older brother also sung in a choir too, and a choir that was called Sounds of Blackness in the very beginning.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Um, I still don't know what my sisters did, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not musically inclined. Mama walk around, you know, singing and doing all those things. So along the way, North Minneapolis, Willard High, Harrison, Lincoln High, school where, you know, Prince and Andre and a lot of the band members went to school. We
Okay.
ended up at North High and high school. Jelly Bean Johnson went to another school that was due to, I think, busing called Marshall U. but lived in the community. In our community, there was just a love for music through all the youth. Sonny Thompson that played with Prince, the Barbers, Andre Simone. Right there in the neighborhood. I mean, we were within walking blocks to each other's homes, and as the band started forming, different groups of people formed their own bands. Andre Prince of Morse was in a group, Terry, Jelly Bean, and a young man by the name of David Island, who's a phenomenal musician. And you should be hearing some stuff from him pretty soon through Flight Time Records.
Okay.
They formed the band as youngsters, and that was called Flight Time. And I'm zipping through this because I know we don't have a whole bunch of time. They formed a band and they performed. They performed at park board gatherings. They performed at outdoor concerts, like there was Battle of the Bands. There were proms that they played at. There were events downtown that they played at, and not being a musician, but I had my group of friends that we would attend all these events and just hanging out, proud to know my brothers up there breaking them strings.
Yeah. Right.
Things got going from there. Graham Central, the Family, Jimmy Jam was in a group on the other side of town, Enterprise Band of Pleasure, and Eminem Hustlers, and they were pretty big too. We had horns. We had a lead singer who was Miss Black Minnesota quite a few years in a row. Who ended up becoming Lips, Funky Town. I want to take you to Funky Town. She sung in that.
Funky Town. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And it just the momentum just it started and it didn't stop. It didn't stop until until things happened. Prince he initiated a lot of it. With coming back and pulling people into his ideology of what he wanted to do as entertainment.
Okay, well, along that line, I was going to get into, so when did your role start to increase in the whole entertainment aspect of the bands? When did you go from admiring your brother on stage to joining on stage? It's kind of two-part. And at what point did the whole mirror become a thing as part of your character?
My participation with the band started probably when I was about 15, and I was hanging out at the nightclubs with Terry and those guys while they were performing. Me and a couple of my friends, some of my best friends still, Roy Curtis, Princey, we would move equipment for them, and we would plug all the stuff up and we would sell items for people to enjoy the evening with.
I know what you mean.
And I also was in charge of watching the door and keeping an eye on the money as well. Well, Morris, Prince, and Andre would show up, and I would usher them in without a door fee. We became friends. They were a little older than me, but I was just a quiet kid. I was given a task, and that's what I did. I tasked it out. And I ended up going away to school for a couple of years. And Terry and everybody else still pursued, and things were transforming into the big Minneapolis sound. Prince had went off and did Soft and Wet and everything. So I finished my time at school, and I came home and I was working, and Terry, Flight Time was offered their deal as to become who they became, which was the time. Okay. When they were offered the job, Terry mentioned to Prince that he should hire me to help them before they went into rehearsals.
Okay.
Prince agreed with it. He gave me the job. He gave me the opportunity. So I came in and I started. I took full reins of providing, the roadie work for them, making sure that they had everything when it came to showtime, or making sure the rehearsals were on time, making sure that they ate, make sure they had water. I just became a valet, and things just started changing from there. The band got to a place through rehearsing that Prince was ready for them to showcase to the management company.
Okay.
During rehearsals, the rehearsals were drawn out. They were 18 hours a day sometime on one song. But the band was off. Prince knew what he was doing. These guys were so tight that they could stop a song and say, same place, stop right where they finished.
Right.
And I would stand on the side and dance and do little dance steps and stuff. And myself and my friend Magoo became a big production manager for like Beyonce, Janet Jackson, and still doing a lot of big stuff. Well, we would do these little quirky little dance steps, and I started doing that stuff on the side of the stage. But along the same time, there's a phrase there's a line in the song that says, "Somebody bring me a mirror." And in this particular club called the Yasms, there's a bunch of mirrors around the club. And I grabbed one of the mirrors off the wall and timed it and brought it up to Morris.
Wow.
Morris turned when I had the mirror.
Wow.
And Prince was watching it, and Morris just primped in it. And we hadn't rehearsed it at all.
None of that. Wow.
No rehearsal whatsoever. Prince jumped up, screamed, and his laid on the floor and rolling around. He said, do it again. So we did that for a couple of hours and got the time down. And we were ready to do a showcase. We did that for the showcase. And the management team of Cavallo, Ruffalo, and Farnoli were blown away. And at that point, I became the mirror man.
Gotcha.
Slowly started adding choreography to the show and bringing just a little more spice to everything that you see on stage.
And being the smooth guy you are, you just kind of went smoothly right into what my next question was, which was, how much of a role did Prince play in those dance routines and contribute to those the choreography of those things, and who took the longest, in your opinion, to learn all those dance moves y'all perfected?
Well, Prince's role with who we are was significant, and he knew when to step in and he knew when to pull back. As far as the choreography, he left that to us. He knew when we needed to tighten up, but he would never augment anything.
Gotcha.
There was so much creativity in the six guys that if I had an idea, there was a tweak here and a tweak there by everybody's comfort zone to be able to do it. And that helped it become just the unique, uniformed, military, pimp A stuff.
That's right. Well, so if we fast forward a bit and talk about those serious dance moves that I know I grew up trying to master, who came up with the bird?
It's funny. The bird was derived from just there's an element on the first tour where all the band members would be on stage, and there's a big loud introduction, and then somewhere in the middle of the show the band would be playing, and Morris, Jimmy Jam, and Terry and Jesse would be at the front of the stage, and they'd just be standing there, just moving around, and Morris be clowning. He just started doing like this. So that went from this to this.
To this. Okay.
Which is the pterodactyl from the Flintstones.
The pterodactyl. Okay, now we know the real story. The pterodactyl from the Flintstones. Y'all heard. If you didn't know, you know now, and you heard it on Prince Day. Houston presents Sometimes It Snows in April with Brother JB. That's awesome to know, and it goes along with the whole, secret sauce that y'all seem like y'all had. So if there was one thing that you would say was the secret sauce, what would you attribute it to?
To a man having a good time with a woman. The secret sauce is experience. It ain't talked about.
It ain't talked about. Oh Lord, chili sauce. Oh Lord.
Oh Lord.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Watch out, the Craig don't fall out.
Watch out. I'm gonna fall out, man. I'm gonna fall out. You got to come and save me in Copenhagen, bro. You got to come get me. Okay. So we're gonna keep it moving because this is interesting stuff, and we're gonna get through this. We know we're on a timetable, but this is the part of the show I know a lot of people was looking forward to. So let's move forward to what was your initial impression when you got wind about the formation of the Purple Rain script and it was turned into a movie, the aspects of it? How did that come to you and your role in the movie?
Purple Rain was introduced to us as a group and possible cast members by Prince. He would pull you to the side and say, we're going to do a movie. Then he started putting us in dance classes. Okay. And we're doing dance classes, and this is new to us. We had been introduced to videos and stuff, and the definition of us doing a movie wasn't really given to us. Oh, okay. It was just, we're going to do a movie. So I'm like, oh, movie. That's a little more intense than just a video, but we can handle that. That could be pretty good. Okay. And Albert Magnoli came in town and was writing the script. He had a script to go by, and he would have meetings with myself and Morris, and I guess some of the other cast members. And he pulled us into the hotel room and said, here, explain what the movie's going to be about. And he sat us there and he said, so let's say, Morris, you would say this to Jerome. What would you say to him, Jerome? So Morris, what would you say to Jerome? Jerome, what would you say to him? So we went through a little bit of that, and this is not to take anything away from Magnoli, because he craftily put it all together to make it work. Right. Of course, Prince added his knowledge to it. Yeah. And our flavor is very unique to a bunch of people, and everybody just can't write for myself, Morris, and Prince. So when we work together as a collective, it becomes a very special thing. We started the first day of shooting, and we did the what scene? The password scene.
The password is what?
And we rehearsed it with Dawn Renee and Craig Rice, me and myself and Morse. We rehearsed it for maybe about an hour. And we got on set. We got through the first one. They said, good, one more time. We did that. Good, great. Next setup. And we're watching Prince. So we only got 2 takes.
Mm.
I believe 2 takes. And we're watching Prince and take 2, take 9, take 13. But that's not to take anything away from him, because when you watch him on screen and he's got these looks when he's
Mm-hmm.
all of that is perfect. And I couldn't direct that and get that out of him.
Right.
Prince knew what he wanted. And, you know, he reviewed his takes and he finally ended up getting what he wanted. And, you know, the crazy thing is that Apollonia came in as a seasoned actor.
Mm-hmm.
She came in and heard it. And everybody else other than her, well, Clarence Williams and Olga, they were Hollywood established.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, right.
But you know, the Apollonia 6 girl, Brenda and Susan and Jill. Jill was a little more familiar with the Hollywood way, and she was pretty seasoned at what she did as well. But everybody else, all we did was video.
That's right. So I want to put a little pin in the whole. So the what's the password was written in the script, or were y'all given, like, you know, was that freestyle, ad libbing? Like, what was that? How did that form? Like, was that presented and then y'all just it was actually written? Okay.
That was written. That was written, and it's crazy too, because while doing it, the fanfare of everything that's going on, I didn't know what the password was. I was just delivering lines.
You were delivering lines, right.
I think I found out what the password was on Easter this year.
This year. Gotcha. Well, we know you
along
went
with
on
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. I see. Yes, sir. I know you went on from that to do other things, and one of my favorites that you worked on was the project with the family. And this was a question that I had for Big Brother Jelly Bean on the last episode of Prince Day Houston Presents, was the song Screams of Passion. Anybody who's familiar with the song and the video, we all wait for the little part so we can do the little dip down.
Uh-huh.
Jelly Bean said, I need to talk to you to find out how that came about. So I want to hear from you, because I can't hear that song. I don't care what I'm doing. I can be in church and come on, I'm gonna do the little dip. You know what I'm saying? So tell me about the dip part, and is it a name to that dance?
Well, Craig, you need to talk to me when you want to find that out.
That's why we got you here, brother. That's why you here.
No. Screams of Passion. The element of Under the Cherry Moon started surfacing.
Okay.
And we were running around the country. And my past, along with Damon Dixon and Tony Mosley, we were all young men dancing in the park. And there were a lot of popular dances around. And it was that. And that's where that comes from. Prince said, we need some choreography, Jerome. Hook us up. So I'm listening to the music. It's time to do it. What you got? And we're doing it. He said, you're going to be a director of an orchestra on the beach. So I'm out there.
There it is. Yes.
And at that time, the snake was big. That's what it's called, right?
The snake, right?
Snake. And you know, I do that, but there wasn't a girl in front of me. So I was basically making love to the audience.
Right on, right on.
And that's where that came
And
from.
and the way you did it so uniquely was you did the snake, but you did it to the beat of the song, so it made it seem like you was more doing it more as a movement. Not the snake was more of a smooth kind of
Right,
flowing like the snake move, but y'all did it like a tick, 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 and you came
right.
back up. So that's why I thought it was a little different, but it makes sense now because the snake was a popular dance
And,
during that time, you know.
and you know, to give my man credit, all of that, all that creativity and that space that he gave me to do those things, he edited it together and made me look like a genius.
Gotcha.
So I have to continuously give him the praise and the credit for uh, creating the platform for it.
Right. And platform. See, man, you own it, man. You like saying all the key words. It's like going right next to where I was going. So the next platform that you guys were on that I know I paid attention to, and others may say the same, it's my favorite, was Under the Cherry Moon. Because I think that movie showed y'all in more of a upbeat, everyday light. Purple Rain had its seriousness to it and had a more of a serious undertone. Under the Cherry Moon was lighthearted and fun. And to me, it was what I thought y'all would be like if I was hanging with y'all on a regular, like for real.
Oh
So
yeah.
what was the role tricky written for you? Did you have to audition for it? How did that come about?
Uh, I think I auditioned when I took the mirror off the wall and put it in front of Morris. I think that
Right
was my
on,
audition.
right on,
I
right
think
on.
I believe there was a moment there, and Prince accepted me as a creative,
Okay.
and he nurtured me all the way until he left this earth to do his next deed. But the what happens is he um, he had me traveling with him a lot at that time. The
Okay.
clubs around the country were crazy. We were down in Miami, South Beach, hanging out with the cast of Miami Vice, and here Don Johnson and Tubbs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're the biggest thing on TV, and Olivia Brown and the little Latin lady, and I'm over in the corner like this looking at them, and they're over there watching us trying to get into our VIP.
Wow.
And we would come in the back door and come in the front door and leave out the back. We were at the Limelight. We were at the church in New York, Studio 54, walking in and sitting in roped areas, not allowing, I'm not going to say the big names, but they weren't allowed to come in. I'm like, man, let them folks in here. I want to
Right, right,
see them.
right, right, right,
But
right, right.
it was teaching me it was giving me a confidence that you're just as big as them at this point.
Mm,
So let's
mm.
roll. Around the same time of the video Screams of Passion, we were doing things, and we Prince was putting together Under the Cherry Moon, and he had me watch a bunch of movies. He watched Some Like It Hot, some watched a bunch of old gangster movies, from the '60s. James Cagney. We would sit up and watch them.
Give him the Bela Lugosi.
Give him the Bela Lugosi, yeah. All that. And
Yeah, yeah,
I'd
yeah.
be like, man, he said, yeah, I'm gonna hit you with that tonight. You do it. So,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
started going, and he started gathering just a lot of stuff. We were just experiencing life, having fun. We had yachts, 180-foot yachts on the Mediterranean Sea with a cast, a crew of 24 people hanging around the Monaco, in Monte Carlo. We were Antibes, Cannes, St. Paul de Vence. We had a big old giant Lincoln Continental limo on those
Right.
small French streets.
Streets, yeah.
20 minutes to turn a corner.
And the
but,
way under the cherry moon was shot makes it just classic in itself. The whole, I know there's a story behind the whole black and white versus color, but the black and white to me just makes it that much more. It just gives a different whole nother level of class to it, in my opinion. And that's why I'm wearing black and white tonight, because we're in the spirit of that. With sometimes it snows in April. The question I have. Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate it. I took a page out of your book. I grew up watching y'all, man. So you took a page out of your book. But a lot of people are wondering, and it's been rumblings amongst the Purple family, Purple community. Will there ever be a color version of Under the Cherry Moon? And have you seen it in full, in color?
Under the Cherry Moon was shot in color. It was transposed into black and white. It wasn't an easy process of doing it too, because there's a lot of lighting. We were working with some of the best cinematographers and lighting directors ever. Michael Bauhaus, bless his soul, and his sons Sebastian and Christian. They're big directors now. They Godfather, Goodfellas, a lot of that stuff. I know there has to be a color version sitting somewhere, and okay. I have seen it in color. But
which way do you prefer, now that you have something to compare it to? Obviously, being in the movie, seeing it in both versions, which one would you say you prefer?
I'm a firm person about the creativity of what Prince has done. I wouldn't change any idea that he has. Black and white
Gotcha.
is the way to go.
Gotcha.
But it would be cool to see it. It wouldn't make it better for me, but right. It would be cool to see it and have the audience see it as well in color. But black and white it's like us turning Mona Lisa's smile upside down and telling Da Vinci, fuck you.
Yeah, true that. And I personally think that with it being in black and white, it made us focus more on your characters, what you were saying, the antics.
Right.
If we were to see it in color, we would be too busy being in awe of all the, look at this, look at the colors. Now, I appreciated the characters in the movie and how y'all portrayed yourself over the film. I don't know that I want to see it in color. I've seen snippets and I've seen still photos. I still prefer the black and white. We're going to kind of push through, but I have to ask this. Talk to me about the record store skit. That's one of the most popular parts of Under the Cherry Moon. How was that? How did that formulate? How did that come about?
Well, myself and Prince, we had taken a trip to Europe, and we were over there. It was myself and Wally and Gilbert, I believe, too. And we were just being introduced to Kristen Scott Thomas, the star, the female star of Under the Cherry Moon. We were out eating, and she had an English accent like Kenneth.
He on you, brother Kenneth.
And I was just really enjoying myself. Here I am sitting in Moulin Rouge and Maxime's having dinner. And I don't know how many thousands of dollars that this uneaten food was going to cost and that bottle of wine was going to cost. It didn't matter to me because it was going to be paid for. Right. And we're sitting there, and we had another guest with us as well. And, we're eating and talking and getting to know each other. And she had this kind of persnickety way, not as a person, but just her tones. What do you mean by that? Yeah. And I started imitating her. And we started going back. She said, "You're a ninny." I said, what's a ninny? and Prince just cracked up. I said, she said, you're not smart. I said, smarter than you. She said, before she got out of my mouth, said, what's a record store? What's a record store? Record store? Record store? Record store. What is he talking about? And Prince said, where would you buy a Sam Cooke album? And we both leaned across the table and looked at her. She said, you're a ninny. You can buy a Sam Cooke album at a record store.
Yeah.
We just busted out.
That was it.
That was it. A lot of stuff came from just our jovial place in life and creativity.
And like I say, I felt like that jumped off the screen and Under the Cherry Moon, and I still get enjoyment watching it now. Like it's the first time. Obviously, I can recite all the lines and know all the breaks and everything, but it just to me, it made me feel like that would be how it would be a day in the life hanging with Jerome and Prince. So I appreciate that amongst over all of them. Honestly, that's my favorite, regardless of what the critics may say. You know, forget what the critics say. It's what the people say.
Well, you know, the critics came back 30 years later and reevaluated.
Reevaluated it. Right.
So, I mean, again, like you said, what you changed your mind?
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
well, this was a personal question of mine. We're speeding ahead. We kind of got to wrap this up in a few.
No problem.
But moving to the next film, this question was asked of Brother Jellybean as well. And again, he said, you need to have JB on the show. So again, now we have JB on the show. In Graffiti Bridge, the whole scene when Prince bust into, pandemonium and was approaching about doing the battle, and y'all had the whole back and forth scene, and y'all was saying "yount" and "yount." What is "yount"? What does that come from? And who came up with that?
Yount came from just being part of the household.
Okay.
When you didn't want to hear what somebody had to say, or they were just getting on your nerve, you would cut them off with "yount."
Now, okay.
And every time they keep trying to push it, and you "yount."
Okay.
It means you're out your head. You're not being listened to. You're wasting your time.
Gotcha.
Keep it moving. Keep it pushing.
Keep it pushing, as we say this day. Yount. We want to touch on. We also share uniqueness in our athletic backgrounds, and have had a number of conversations about our fondness of football, even extending to the next generation with the success that your son had at Michigan State. Talk about maybe some competitive battles you had with Prince that is of note, and who won.
I won a real good one.
Okay.
I won a really good one. Here's the story. This was right around the time that we flew into London.
Okay.
And my check hadn't came in, and I was pissed. And Prince knew I was upset, but we had been out on the town. I was kind of teetering.
Yeah.
And he said, "Man, what's wrong with you? You've been kind of upset all night." I said, "I'm glad you asked." And we're in the limo, and we get back to the hotel, and we're walking through the lobby. I said, "Man, I ain't got my check, man. My car gonna be repoed, all that." He said, "Oh man, if I had your money, I'd be rich." I was like, "Really? You would be rich if you had my money?" I said, "I wish I had your money." He said, "But if I had your money, I'd be rich." I said, "Okay." We get on the elevator, and there's a momentum in the conversation. Get on the elevator. I said, "So let's switch places then. You have my bills and my finances, and I have your bills and your finances." He said, "Okay." I said, "So I'm the boss." Ding, we get into the floors, ding, and there's going off. And it gets to my floor. He said, you can be the boss. I said, okay. So I'm the boss, right? He says, yes, you're the boss. I got your money, right? I'm holding the elevator, it's trying to close. He said, yep. I said, you got my bills. You got all my money, right? I let the door go. I said, Prince, you're fired.
Closed doors.
And he said,
Wow.
And
that's
the next morning, all of my worries were gone.
Gotcha.
Because he listened to me and he heard what I was saying.
Well, that goes into, I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and I want you to kind of talk about the first thing that comes to mind as we get to a close. Okay. What is something that you learned by being not only just a friend and working with him, working for him, that you still use in your day-to-day now as you continue to create as an artist? What is something that he taught or he gave you that you still use in your everyday life?
You create from inside, from your surroundings. Loyalty is huge. We were winning because of loyalty. I just believe that that he had a lot more in the tank before this time 4 years ago. There was conversations 5 years ago. There were conversations that were reminiscent of the creator's time back before Under the Cherry Moon that he had shared with me and my brother as well. That man's he is missed dearly. And we should not allow his legacy to be bastardized, abused, and let the people make the money that made him money that they're not paying now.
That's a word right there. That's a word.
Yeah. It's enough. There's enough for everybody.
Right.
Enough for everybody.
Right.
We as a family, Paisley Park deserves a great structure, and all of these people that are there, Wendy, Bobby Z, Matt Fink, Brown Mark, Tony M, Damon Dixon, Rosie Gaines, all those folks, Morris Hayes, Jesse Johnson, Andre Simone. There's no reason that place should just be sitting for people to walk through for $10.
Agreed.
And then you got the amazing business brains of Terry and Jimmy and their associations that can make it, that can 5 times triple the money opposed to what's being hoarded and slipped away. So.
Right. Several of our brothers and sisters wanted to know, do you have any plans of writing a book? Because as interesting as this interview has been, I know I would look forward to if you came out with something that was more in depth and covered more, broader aspects of your career, your time. And I know a lot of people would be interested in that. So do you have any plans? Are you working on anything? And while you're talking about that, go ahead and make sure they know your platforms on how they can keep up with what Jerome has going on.
Well, I continuously create elements. I think I might be a little temperamental, but I get things going, and somebody will make a bad judgment towards me. And a bad judgment is not picking up the phone,
right.
not being on time with something, and I'm over it. I'm cutting dry. My ADD ways work for me. I'm extremely creative, I have to say. Is it all good? Probably not, but to me it is.
It is, right.
And I've had success with my projects. I have a lot of stuff that right now, and some new friendships that have moved me forward with getting things out. Pay attention. I have a website and a .com. It's called IamJeromeBenton.com. Sign up and you'll get information. I got events that I'm looking forward to doing once this COVID runs its course and gets out the way this summer. I want to do a Under the Cherry Moon situation. It might be in Los Angeles, here at the Terranay, or it may be at the restaurant in Copenhagen, or at the rest. Remember the opening scene of Under the Cherry Moon with the ladies walking through the restaurant?
Yeah.
Maybe there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So I think I have a lot of juice left in the tank. I got a lot of projects. I got a writing partner that's been my friend for over 30 years. He was at my first audition for 227. His name is Alunga Adele. He has a massive credential. Sanford Son, 227 Moesha, City Guys. He's done acting, but he's honed me in on writing and being creative. I have some band projects that I'm got in the tank, and they're really good. Again, I'm a no nonsense kind of guy when it comes to putting stuff together. And if I team up with you, I want to move forward. I don't want to be stagnant. And stagnation, most of the time, it's my idea. So I'm gonna keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Whether you gonna pedal or paddle.
Right on. I always say you either gonna keep up or you're gonna have to catch up, because I'm gonna keep it moving. Keep up and catch up is my way. And give them your. Go ahead.
And I don't want people to mistake it for that kind of attitude for being arrogant or stubborn. I just love moving forward. I like, when Prince was around, I shoot an idea at him. Next thing I see, it's on film, or it's on a record, or it's in a video somewhere. The Raspberry Beret, the Kiss video, choreographing those. Again, giving me the whole platform to choreograph the Time stuff. Some of the stuff from some of the tours that he did with his band. So he gave me a lot of confidence, and again, the platform to be me in his world.
Right. Run down to everybody your Twitter, your Facebook, your Instagram, so they can keep up with you with your social media. I know you gave the website. Give them your social media.
Well, you can get to all my social media through IamJeromeBenton.com.
Oh, the website. Okay.
IamJeromeBenton.com. And
everybody got that? Be sure to go to his website. Be sure to go follow him on all his platforms. Let's support Brother Benton. He's done so much for our Purple community. It's an honor and a privilege to have him on tonight. And we need to make sure we follow this brother, keep up and support. And in that vein, we share a mutual friend who unfortunately passed away recently due to COVID.
Yes.
I know I'm changing the speed, but we kind of got to push on through. Arlington Sarai, a mutual friend of ours, big supporter of Prince Day Houston, and pretty much everything I did with my family on a personal tip, business tip. He was my guy. And he was the first person I spoke to after the last Prince Day Houston presents Another Lonely Christmas, that I should approach you. And here we are sitting here today. And I'd like to think that the spirit of Arlington is still amongst us. I worked with Heart and Star, my friend Terry Daniel out of Arizona, and we created these phenomenal lapel pins that several of the
Beautiful
viewers in the audience received. And yours is on the way, brother. You will have yours. And we raised money to in the name of Arlington. And because of the efforts, $1,000 will be donated to the Positive Black Male Association of Houston in the name of Arlington Sarai. That's something that he would have wanted to see young brothers coming up trying to get a leg up in life that may have some disadvantages. We're going to make a difference for them in the city of Houston through the Positive Black Male Association of Houston in the name of Brother Arlington Sarai. So we're going to pause for a minute and give Brother Sarai some credit to do, and then we'll get back to the music.
You know,
Yeah, once again, this show is being dedicated to Brother Sarai, and we didn't want to just dedicate the show and not do something by way of supporting a charity. Give it up, everyone, again for Brother Jerome Benton. You will be, seeing him on the Prince Day Houston platforms, because we will be supporting him, and we look forward to the next encounter in person. It's always a pleasure to see you when I'm out and about. We're gonna make it a point to get together as things continue to get back to some normalcy. So everyone, give it up again for my brother Jerome Benton. Appreciate you being with us again tonight, bro. I know we went over
Thank
a little
you, Craig.
bit, but the conversation was so grand that I didn't want to cut it short. And I hope everybody is staying with us. We're going to get back to the music now and get to the second set of the live music with Brother Martell Lacey, Marvin Alexander, Crystal, and Candace, and the crew, H-Town's finest. Y'all tune in. Back to the
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.